Let's talk Roe v. Wade now. Can this affect the stock market? Yes.
What is Roe versus Wade?
I am not going to do a history lesson. I am not going to talk about the difference between the Constitution, individual rights, states' rights, federal rights. I'm not going to do that here because that is not what my stream is about. I'm just going to give you what the landmark of this case was. It basically was a decision that went back and forth in the courts and went up and allowed abortions to be legal at the federal level. Now, why does that matter? Well, there's a lot of things that people don't understand. I'll give you an example. Did you know that marijuana is legal in states, but it's illegal at the federal level? What does that mean? Well, that means technically, if you own a weed shop in Colorado, it's legal in the states, it's illegal federally. So technically, the feds could come in and raid your shop. That is why there's a difference between federal and state. Okay, so this basically said at the federal level, it's legal to have an abortion. States still had the right to decide for themselves. States could make their own laws, and we've seen that happen. So recently, we've seen several states, including Texas and now Oklahoma, move into a way where the majority of abortions are illegal after 6 weeks. Why is that so controversial? Well, there's a lot of controversial reasons, and I don't want to get into too much of it, but here's a well-known or little-known fact. Most women don't even know they're pregnant. Well, the ones that are trying to, but a lot of women don't even know they're pregnant until after 6 weeks. So then it becomes a thing here. So I'm starting to get down to that path I don't want to go to. But here's what I'll say. Now that you guys know what this means, okay, you know what Roe versus Wade was. It has been precedent since the 1970s, okay, at the federal level. Now that we know that, there has been a leak. It's the first time that a draft of a decision has ever been leaked from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has always been very secretive. It's always been very behind the scenes. These guys are not elected. They're appointed for life, the whole 9 yards. A draft has allegedly been leaked. Now, the reason that I'm putting these two words is because I want you guys to have some context before you listen to all the talking points out there. Before you start going rabble, 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 I want you guys to understand two things. Draft. A draft means what the decision, or in this case, the majority decision, has written that they are going to decide on. But when it says a draft, the problem is that a draft is not a final product, right? A draft could be changed, it could be altered, it could be withdrawn, it could be a lot of things. This is not a final decision or a final paper. This is a draft. Number two, it was leaked, right? And until it's confirmed that this is true, it's speculative, right? Or it's alleged. So you can't be 100% sure. Now, the amount of coverage it's gotten, I would assume that it probably is a real leak, but it's still a draft. Could it be the final decision verbatim? Maybe. I don't know. Now that I've caught you guys up to what this is about, how could this affect the stock market? Because you're like, Stocky, I've got my pitchforks ready. I'm ready to tell you that, having an abortion at 7 months is murder, or you're going to say, Stocky, you know what? They don't have a right to tell women what to do with their body no matter what. Or listen, whether you're on this side or whether you're on this side or you're on this side, listen, okay? You go to your respective corners of the internet and you have this discussion. I'm not here to have this discussion with you. What I'm here to do is say, if this is the actual decision, how can it affect the market? Okay? Two things right off the bat. Number one, healthcare sector. This is going to be both positive and negative for different companies. Number one, if it is overturned, that means that insurance companies no longer cover, because several of them do cover abortions, okay? This is this affects the payouts and the coverage of several healthcare companies, okay? Number one. Number two, it could also affect several different medications, right? Birth control pills may end up going up or down, contraceptives, fucking UTIs. Fine, Jesus fucking Christ. That's a whole different drug. I'm playing SPRO because of UTIs, listen, if you have a UTI, never mind, just moving on. All right, healthcare sector. Also, if this is overturned, this could affect other things as well, not just in the political spectrum, okay? But it could also affect companies and payouts. What do I mean?
We already saw when the Texas law came in that companies like Bumble, Zoom,
And others have said to their female employees, hey, if you have an abortion or you have to cross state lines to go have an abortion, we will cover the cost.
Uber's doing the same.
Uber is said that they will do the legal fees for any drivers that drive somebody to an abortion clinic and get civilly sued. Depending on the business, like a business like Bumble, who has primarily female employees, right? This is something that investors are going to look at and say, you know, this may be a large cost to the company, or could be a potential cost to the company.
Amazon has also said that they will pay up to $4,000
in medical costs for abortions.
You're like, okay, Stocky, but that's only a few employees,
And you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company. That's not going to affect them that much. You're right. But here is where the actual kicker takes place. And this is something that no one's going to tell you about because nobody wants to get into the talk about it because they're afraid that it's going to turn into a political riot. This ain't political. Not for me. But it is for these companies. And I'm going to give you a great example of something that just happened that's going to give you an example of what could happen with this.
If a company makes a statement about it, run or buy the dip.
Does anybody know why I'm saying this? I know you guys in the morning call know, but the rest of you guys who weren't here.
Morning call guys know, we talked about it this morning. I'll give you the example. Disney, ladies and gentlemen.
Has Disney World in Florida. A bill came out in the Florida legislature signed by the governor that
Says that kids that are in kindergarten through third grade,
teachers are no longer allowed to teach them about sexuality, gender, any of that stuff.
a lot of people called this the Don't Say Gay bill. And the reason that they were calling this is that there was a belief, whether it's true or not, I'm not getting to that, that this bill was targeting, teachers and others that don't want them to teach kids about the difference between boys and girls and gay and straight and transgender and whatever like that. Regardless of your belief on it, this is what it was nicknamed, the Don't Say Gay bill. What ended up happening was one of Disney's executives had previously donated to the legislator who introduced the bill. So there was an uproar. Several employees decided they were going to do a strike or a walkout, the transgender and the employees that were part of the LGBTQ plus, community. Disney at that point was getting some heat, but they were staying quiet. They've always stayed quiet on these things. A lot of people were saying to Disney, hey, listen, just stay quiet. Either those people leave and come back or you just hire new people, whatever, just don't get involved in it. And the previous PR person, was like that. But Disney recently hired a new PR person. And he saw what was happening and said, let's do damage control and let's make a statement. So Disney then in turn said that we do not support this. We are open, we are exclusive, and we don't like the idea of targeted hate against any communities or whatever. That's great from a personal standpoint or whatnot, or a company motto or platform. But in this case, what happened was, and you may applaud Disney for standing up for what they believe in or for taking a stand or whatever, but I'm talking about this from a strictly a economic and a financial standpoint. Disney has a autonomous region.
They have they have their own state in Florida. It's a community that's board is run by Disney employees, that is owned on land that has its own police force and doesn't pay taxes. It's part of the deal for Florida for all the money they bring in. So what did the legislator and the governor do? They revoked the tax-exempt status. And that means Disney
Just lost $1 billion plus
in money that they saved. This could be appealed, this could be overturned, it's not a guarantee, but investors saw that and said, oh shit, that is a lot of money. And it's not just going to affect Disney, it's also going to affect Orlando itself, because this could have a lot of ripple effects. I don't want to be too speculative yet of what's going to happen here, but this could be positive for the community, could be $1 billion in tax revenue going into the state. It could hurt Disney. Disney may fight it. Some of the communities may benefit. They may hurt. I don't know what's going to happen. But investors saw a $1 billion tax write-off disappear, all because they made a statement about something controversial. Maybe they made a statement on the other direction, right? You're like, well, the fucking right-wing snowflakes. No, this can happen either direction. You could have Disney who decides to support the bill or just stand by and say, hey, listen, That's the government. That's not us. We're not getting involved. But by making a statement that's not against it, by de facto, a polarized political country will say, if you don't take a stand, it means you're against us. If you're not with us, you're against us. That could have had a massive backlash on people that have families and people that are pro-choice, or not pro-choice, but pro, this teaching, and that could lose a lot of revenue from people, striking or people, boycotting. That's why I say it's better for a large corporation to not take a stand either way, because what do I always tell you? This is a little life hack for those of you guys that work in a job or in an industry where you're under the gun all the time. If you fuck up, whether you are an influencer, whether you are a public figure, whether you are a corporation, or you are an employee, if you fuck up, shut up. Do you want to know why? I've said it before. The same reason why we can't, as a society, keep an attention span at all. We are conditioned to be extremely short attention span. That's why TikTok is so big. We can't keep our attention very long. Is anybody talking about Russia and Ukraine today? No. There's a goddamn war going on and people are dying. No. Is anybody talking about Elon Musk and Twitter? No. The next big thing captures our attention. COVID? People are still dying of COVID. Nobody cares anymore. The only way people, if you're at work and you fuck up, take your punishment, take your licks, keep your head quiet, keep your head low, keep your head high, keep your presence low, and wait for the next person to fuck up. And then everyone will forget all about your fuck up. But if you give people a reminder that you fucked up, that's how they remember, okay? You lean into the apology and the people who want you to apologize aren't gonna like you. They're just gonna be like, that's right, I won, fuck you. And the people who like you are gonna be like, you sold out. And if you lean into what you did too much, people are gonna think you're a bigot overall, right? Just lay low, just fucking lay low. Our attention spans are like that. The worst thing you can do is to make people remember or make a meme out of it or whatever. So I'm getting back to a corporation. The best thing from an investor standpoint is for a corporation to just shut up. If it doesn't directly involve them, don't make a statement. Have an internal memo to your employees. If it gets leaked, so what? Nobody's going to care. It's not all in the news. It might be in the news for a minute or two. Say, hey, listen, guys, if you need an abortion, we'll pay for it, whatever like this, or we'll help you out. Come to us, whatever like that. Even if the document gets leaked, it's not a public statement. It goes away. Somebody else will have a bigger news headline. I'm not telling companies they should do this. I'm talking about from an investing standpoint. But the moment a big corporation makes a we support or we are against a major thing like this is when investors start to move away and say, I'm going to come back when some other big headline happens and we can come in. So that gives you an opportunity to fucking dip, or what we talk about, the first video I ever posted on YouTube, which is monetize outrage culture. Now, I'm not calling this as unjustified outrage one direction or the other, so don't try that shit with me. But I'm just saying that this is at play. So how does Roe v. Wade, the leak, affect the stock market and the company you were invested in? We just did an entire 15-minute segment on that. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Every now and then, and you know the best part? I did it so tactfully, neither people on either side could fucking pitchfork me. That's talent right there. You're wrong, I'm mad. Yeah, but you're mad about the fact you have a small bank account.